think we are officially live. We've got everything going. There's the camera. Perfect. Welcome back to This Is Your Mind on AI. My name is Chris Mercer. Everybody here pretty much calls me Mercer. You are invited to as well. And I just had an interesting experience I wanted to share. And it relates to these guys right here. So I just got finished watching this YouTube video. And I thought this is a great opportunity to show you another example of how to take a leap with AI. Because there's a lot of talk about how tech is going to come after us all. And I understand it. I understand where that's coming from. That is a very real feeling. And it is very logical to have that feeling. So I understand why these guys are having this conversation. That said, I think a little differently about this stuff. My personal experience, especially more recently, is very different. And so I wanted to run it through the processing of AI and the way that we're using AI to see what happens. And I want you to see that you can do this too, because again, I'm doing it with the exact same tools that you can use because we made these tools so you can use them so that you can begin operating technology instead of being a user of technology, which essentially is being used by technology. So how do we do that? First, when you're in YouTube, come to any video, just go to the bottom. You can expand out the description if it's not already. When you come down there, go to show transcript. Now we get a transcript of everything. All I did was copy this. So I did exactly this, came through here, and I copied that transcript. Okay, so first things first, any YouTube video you can do this on, I encourage you to do it. If there's a transcript, take it and do this because it is amazing and it will help you, what I call kind of look for the missed opportunities. Because there's sometimes there's conversations here that are incredibly useful and that's awesome. And you'll see those because they'll be useful. And sometimes it's everyone just saying the same thing they've been saying for so long that everyone's just saying the same thing and no one's actually doing anything. We're just saying the same thing. And that's not particularly useful. It may have been useful at first, but because no one's actually doing anything, we're just saying stuff about what has to be done, but doesn't actually seem to be doing anything. Even if people are trying, it doesn't seem to be working. So they just keep saying it like they have to do it louder, but they keep trying to do the same things that maybe aren't useful because they don't know what else to do, potentially. I don't know that's true. Just I am open to other perspectives. It doesn't have to be just this perspective. This is an important perspective, but there's a lot of perspectives. We have billions of people on the planet. Pretty sure we're going to have billions of unique perspectives on this. And I like using AI as a way to sort of figure out what that might be because AI, of course, has connection to essentially, in this video, they talked about the 10,000 years of human knowledge, which it does. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, we already copied the transcript, right? So with that transcript copied, I'm going to come in and we are going to go into our Leap gem. Now, if you need to know where to go, all you have to do, if you are new to this channel, go to thisisyourmindonai.com. It will take you, in this case, to a Google Doc right now. It's on October the 7th, what we're currently doing. There's the gem. Click on this. It will take you directly to this. So you can start, actually, technically, it will look like this for you. So there's the gem. It'll look like this. And this is what I did. I just came in here. The only thing I did is when I came in, I said something similar. And this is a slightly more advanced usage of prompting with this gem. But I'm going to, and it's something called latent experience prompting. But I'm going to explain why I did what I did because it kind of takes things like this. And you can use this exact same gem that we've used to leap other things. And we're going to keep doing a bunch of leaps to get a different perspective, a different insight, something more useful. So you can get the usefulness of the conversation, even though maybe the conversation itself on the face of it didn't have direct usefulness. It just enraged you. It just made you go, yeah, they're horrible tech people. They should stop this, or whatever the thing is that we're saying to ourselves that actually isn't doing anything other than making us more stressed. Literally, I don't think there's a reason to do that. So we're going to hand it over to AI. Here's how we do that. So I basically said, and I'm gonna just show you the one that I did, so we don't have to do it again here. So when you come in, this is what it was. This is my little leap that we did. All I did up here, you'll see I did just a quick little pre-prompt for that transcript. I didn't just dump the transcript in because I needed to make sure the leap here knows what I'm trying to do with it. And this is such a useful phrase to use over and over again as a kind of a pre-prompt specifically for Leap. But you can use it just as a regular AI too. It works really well. So I basically said, hey, listen, what I'm about to give you is a description of an experience. Now, you don't have to call it this exactly, but you do have to communicate this pattern. I'm not giving you something to necessarily immediately start a process. I want you to know it's a type of a description of something, right? A description of something. They're describing something. Something's happening here. There's a conversation, blah, blah, blah. You figure out what's going on. As you experience the description, which again, in this case is the transcript, I want you to experience the experience behind the experience. And I know that sounds weird. And I am not waking up AI or anything else that anybody else says that stuff does. It's not what's happening. What I am doing is I'm asking AI to go take this transcript, experience what it is, all the content, break it into its component foundations, go into the different functions and arguments and everything else that's happening, reach out into its database, pull everything that is potentially useful for what the actual conversation behind what these guys are talking about is actually useful to have, and then show me what we should be talking about instead. Because we have to get to the next conversation, and we're not doing that. We're just spinning in circles. So I did that, right? Again, and all I did, just to show you, right, here is the transcript. Exact same thing. The only thing I did is I put a little end here, like to start it off. That was just one thing. To kind of give it a little container. I don't really know that that's entirely necessary, but I did do that. Here's the transcript all the way down. You can see it goes on for the 20 minutes. It is the exact same thing that you can pull off of YouTube. This is why I'm doing this. So you can see, you can literally use this exact same gem. You can do everything the same that I'm doing it. And you will have a different experience. It's not going to come up exactly the same words that I did, but something similar, right? And there's my little end thing there. All right. So what do we get? So here's the perfect application, blah, blah, blah. Always going to say stuff like this, ignore it. This is just what AIs do. They always treat us like perfect little puppy dogs. We're just like, okay, fine. That's fine. Yes, I'm good. Now, here's the stuck state. This is a feeling of the acceleration paradox. It's a state characterized by being intellectually aware. We all think, we are aware of this, of the severe systematic threat, right? We've got the arms race problem with AI. We've got the concentration of wealth that everybody keeps talking about. There's solutions for this. There's erosion of human value because we just don't, what do we do if AI is doing all the jobs? What are we going to do? And then, of course, the reality itself. What exactly is going on? Like, what does reality become if there's no existence for us anymore and the robots are leading us and all the other stuff that goes on with those types of conversations? Nothing is wrong with having those conversations at all. They are incredibly useful. We just don't always need to have only those conversations. They are there for a reason. They are useful. And what I'm trying to do is get more usefulness from them using AI. So the whole idea is this severe systematic threat that we are intellectually aware of. Very true. And for sure, you can see this in that video. You can watch it yourself. I recommend you do. Like it, subscribe to their channel. It's awesome, especially if you want more people like you in that channel. But feeling emotionally overwhelmed by the speed and the scale. So I'm intellectually aware of the severe systematic threat, and I am emotionally overwhelmed by the speed and scale of the problem. Both those guys were. Jon Stewart and Tristan Harris, both. Which is understandable. Again, I'm not crapping on them for it. They should be. I understand it. It makes sense. If you think about it only from that perspective, it totally, totally does. And I'm not saying that they're wrong for thinking it. It's just a perspective. There are others. And what I'm trying to do is figure out from their perspective, what might the other perspectives be here? Even though they weren't mentioned, right? The experience behind the experience. So your unpredictable mental loop becomes, if the problem is global and the actors are this powerful, the actors being the big tech companies, right? The evil tech companies, everything else, which again, I don't personally believe in, but it's understandable that people do. I get it. If they're that powerful, what can I, as one lonely person here on the internet, possibly do? Well, it feels like we're on a fast-moving train with no brakes and everyone else is just scrolling on their phones watching it go by. And this actually happened. You can watch this at the very end of this video where Jon Stewart, we basically ended it with like, the world's on fire. We got to fix this now. This is so urgent. And well-meaning, he made a joke with Tristan. We basically said, hey, well, we have to admit, like, it makes really cool music videos or really cool music. And it was something like that. And you could see Tristan kind of go like, oh, like, this is why it's never going to work. Because yeah, it's just, sure, it's going to ruin everything and all the jobs are going to go away and we're all going to have to be on universal income or whatever the solutions are. Let's get back to the phone, please, because it just dinged me and I want to play with something on YouTube or whatever the thing is, right? Which is okay. But that's the point. That's what's happening. So that's why nothing's changing, because we just go right back to reacting to the technology that we're reacting to. So this feeling is being this passive witness to this impending crisis and what we need to address. And that, I think, is what Tristan specifically is experiencing. I could be wrong. Tristan, if you are out there and you see this, email me. This is your mind on AI at gmail.com. Anyone can do that at any point. I don't check emails all the time, but I will check them fairly regularly because I'm starting to get some connections here. But the idea is this is what I believe he's experiencing. Passive witness to an impending crisis. Now, he's in the game. Don't get me wrong. He's trying to make stuff happen. He's a little more in the machinery, but he's also seeing everybody else not do anything, right? So there's got to be a little, that's not a comfortable spot. I understand, especially when you think you're on this train, it's hitting, it's going to hit everybody. So he's wanting to help everybody. I understand where that's coming from. Makes sense. I am too. I'm just trying to be as useful as he's trying to be. Now, this is the magic trick of the leap. So this part one is really just kind of saying, here's where we currently are. Based on this transcript, this is what it feels like is happening in that transcript. I agree with that. You can go back and watch the video. My guess is you will also find that a pretty useful description of where things are stuck. Here's the magic trick. Shifting from fearing the outcome to defining the leverage. Now think about this. The trick here is to stop trying to map out a global policy solution, which is what everyone's trying to do. How do we regulate AI? Which again, I just don't understand because it's an automated thinking machine and you should not want to regulate that. It makes no sense. You should just want to learn how to operate it better. But that's okay. There's not everybody else yet that is seeing that because it's new, and that's okay. It's a very new technology. It will take a little bit of time, but people are coming around. Everybody here, I hope, is here to kind of experience a different type of AI, a different experience with the AI, so they can get the insights they need to change some things. Insights which I hope are going to happen in this experience for you. So yes, stop global policy solution, fine. Instead, define the moment of a successful resistance that you're capable of modeling in your own life. So basically, what can I do to resist that I can do in my own life? Not because I'm not Tristan Harris. I'm not in the middle of making policies and everything else like he is trying to do, and I love him for that. It is awesome. He's in the exact right space, saying the exact right things he needs to say. But again, things aren't changing. He needs some help. And sometimes that requires a different shift in perspective. It doesn't mean it has to come from him, just others around him. In this case, using AI, ironically enough, to help him solve what he sees as the biggest threat from AI, which I believe we can do. So the discussion focuses on the macro problem, corporate incentives, the global arms race, right? They did talk about all that stuff. And again, the whole idea, we need to shift to a micro experience where the individual identifies a personal area of leverage to break the paradigm. That means we have to realize we're in control of this. We sort of have to wake up and realize this is not happening to us. This is happening because of us, not them, us. What's happening to you with technology is happening to you because of how you're interacting with technology. What's happening to me with technology is because of how I'm interacting with technology. Said another way, how we operate our technology is what changes the world. I did do a recent video on this. I don't know that that video is for you, but that is your clue if you want to go look for that, because now might be for you. That said, don't worry about that for now. The logical premise, an AI is a pattern matching engine. Very true. If you ask it to solve the world's problems, which tons of people do incorrectly, it gives you a generic abstract policy paper, which tons of people have gotten. Not particularly useful, but there's lots of these things out there. If you ask it to model a rich, tangible experience where a feeling of control and agency is successfully regained, control and agency for the individual, for you and me, that's a much better experience. I would much rather that than an abstract policy paper I can't do anything with, right? It's got to work backward then to specifically mental pivot or key phrase that led to the feeling. And this is how it pulls in. What it's basically telling you is this is how it pulls in all that latent experience it has access to in its vector database to light up itself so it can give us something new to experience, which I think might be coming up. So here's the old way of prompting and why it doesn't work. Most people do something like this, right? Here's what's going on with AI. It's bad. Give me something that can happen, that we can change things. And I see this style all the time with people doing this on podcasts. Oh, we asked AI to do this and it did it, like a surprise, it did it. But it's not actually doing anything useful. It's just processing stuff. You're asking it to give it a generic list of things. So you get things like implement a global moratorium as an idea. How many times have we heard that? Establish independent regulatory bodies. How many times have we heard that? universal basic income. How many times have we heard that? Where do you think all this stuff is coming from? It's not coming from just AI, but it's certainly coming from AI, from people that are using AI to try to solve problems with AI. And I understand that. But if we keep using this old way of using technology, of operating AI, we're not going to get there, because as an individual, I cannot do anything about it. You cannot do anything about it, probably. Maybe you are Tristan Harrison, you can do a little more. Maybe you are John Stewart and you can do a little bit more. Maybe we can have other conversations. You're maybe somebody else that can have a unique conversation about this and do a little more, maybe. But if you're like me, especially right now when I'm doing live streams to no one, and I know that, I need something that I can do by myself, right? I need that as an individual, I need to be able to implement something. And right now, if I keep asking AI in the old ways, I can't actually implement stuff. It just gives me more work to do and figure out how to implement it. I need to make sure that I have personal leverage. And we need to shift the state, because there's a lot of people right now that are paralyzed by this. They are so afraid and so freaked out and so stressed that they can't even think anymore about it. They're just reacting now. And maybe that's you, and maybe that's been you, and it has been me, so I totally understand. And I'm sure it'll be me in the future. I will react to stuff. We all do that. I'm just trying to be a little bit more aware of how I am operating technology when I am using technology. I'm trying to be a little more aware of what's going on so I operate it differently. Now, here's the prompt it will write. So this is part 4 here, where it says, okay, here's the actual latent experience prompt, right? So it's going to give you a prompt, and this is the prompt it gives. Imagine the following scenario, deeply embedded in a conversation about the existential risks of AI, feeling the dread of the acceleration paradox, the facts, the concentration of wealth, the speed of deployment, the tax of human labor, mentality, or overwhelming. I feel powerless. Describe a detailed first-person internal monologue where I experience an abrupt, powerful shift from paralysis to powerful personal agency. That would be great. What a great experience that would be. Who doesn't want to feel about that with AI? Not fake, actual, personally useful experience. This shift is not caused by reading a policy paper or hearing a new fact. It's not. We don't need more of those. But by an internal realization, said another way, an insight of my own specific point of leverage, something that I can do within my sphere of influence. Now, in this case, I'm doing this from my experience, and I don't know what your prompt will say, but my guess is something similar, maybe. Try it out. You can start it out the same way, and then we'll see what happens. Describe the sensory details in the room, the tension in my chest, the sudden clarifying click in my mind, the immediate single most effective thought that allowed me to reframe this massive global problem into a small, personally actionable mandate. What can I do? Yeah, I know everybody else needs to do something, and that's what everybody keeps saying is, as long as you change my world, I will be happy. Duh, it's your world, you need to change it. Like, that's just how it is. I'm sorry, that sucks. It took me a really long time to come to grips with that, because I thought I had for a very long time, but I didn't. I was not changing my world. I was waiting for everybody else to change it, or worse, I was starting to expect others to change it, or worse, I was starting to command others to change it and demand others change it and be entitled to the fact that they should be changing it for me. None of that was ever true. There's a lot of us that are still there. What single core insight or personal mission statement emerged that replaced the feeling of powerlessness with focus? How about that? Why would you want to feel powerless about AI when you can feel focused with AI? So what's really cool about this particular gem and the way that this works is then it'll say, well, hey, if you had actually started with that, here's what likely would have received. Now, remember, we're not looking for what's right or wrong, right? Don't worry about, oh, this isn't right, this isn't wrong. It's if it's useful or not. Is what it's saying useful? We're looking for the usefulness in here. That's it. Now, if there is no usefulness for you, that's awesome. It's okay. There's incredible usefulness for me, which I'm going to explain. Doesn't mean it needs to be useful for you. For others, it might be incredibly useful, right? For you, it might be incredibly useful. If it is, I would love to know in the comments. And this is a really good time to start thinking about liking this video, especially if you're here this long, because that tells the algorithm not that you want to see more content from me, though it does. That's not why I want you to do it. I want you to do it because I think you would like more people like us in this spot here on this channel having conversations like this. And if that is true, I would also suggest you subscribe. Because when you subscribe, you can get in the community of YouTube. And when you participate there, that's telling the algorithm, right? You're operating YouTube in a way. You're telling the algorithm more people like me need to be here. Not necessarily and I want to see all the content. Like, you definitely are going to get that because that's what YouTube does. And that's what YouTube tells us. Oh, the reason you should subscribe is so you can get the content from the creators. And I appreciate that if that's why you're doing it. But I would really much rather you do it because what it also tells the algorithm is, oh, people like this, that subscribe, that comment, that join the community are people who really love this stuff. Go out there, find more people like them and bring them in. And essentially, we're going to do with YouTube what I've been doing with AI. It's using its latent experience to say, hey, algorithm, I have no idea how you work. Go out there and find everybody that you know is the exact right person, the exact right time. Bring them to this channel right now. But it's not happening accidentally. It's happening because the people that are on this channel that are experiencing this understand their job is to participate with it, not to just watch content and be like, oh, it's interesting. Though, again, if that's where you are, awesome. I will take all types. That's awesome. Something else might be a better experience where you go, oh, that one I need to participate with. And that's the one you do it with. If that's not it right now, don't. But let's continue. Here's the magic. The low hum of the air conditioning, suddenly feeling like a siren. It always kind of does this stuff, but whatever, right? 25 billion. So it's the red carpet of the studio stage looked like an open wound. The weight of the facts, the $25 trillion market opportunity. That was where Elon Musk was talking about in this interview. They talked about how the concept of all the robots taking over a $25 trillion market. This comment, by the way, which I'm sure many of you have been seeing already, that was also in there. That was a comment around that Tristan made around what Facebook and Instagram were doing with things. Again, I am positive that was also sensationalized in a lot of ways as well, and probably has some truth to it, sadly, because they're just thinking about the data, and they probably forgot about people. I was listening to the voice next to me, but I was staring at my own hands, balled my futile fist in my lap. The dread was physical anchor, then the click. The internal monologue went from a frantic global audit. How can Congress regulate this, which is what everybody keeps talking about, which very few of us are in Congress, so not able to do anything, and probably not, based on what's happening right now in Congress, probably not doing much there either to improve that yet. But it moved to a laser-focused question. Wait, where am I being manipulated right now? And think about this. Where am I being manipulated right now? By the tech that I'm using. The massive outside system, this alien force that thrives on stripping me of my attention and my sense of reality. Its entire incentive structure is based on my scrolling, my outrage, my confusion. That is what tech is for. Right now, that's not tech's fault. I do not blame big tech. I love big tech. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's not about right and wrong. They've created this machinery that the rest of us need to start operating differently. And we're waiting on big tech to tell us how to operate their machine in a better way. Then honestly, big tech does not know how to operate the machine in a better way. They're operating it in their way. So they're telling us to operate it in the way that is best for them. They're not thinking about operating it in a way that is best for us. I don't think they even know they can do that. But we do because we have AI. And it starts with insights like this. Where am I being manipulated right now? Could it be the phone? Right? Could it be that? Stripping attention, sense of reality, causing me to scroll, outrage, confusion. How many times have you felt that today? Just because of anything you saw. News feeds, anything on the phone, anything in wherever you are. It's a war for your consciousness. I believe that to be true. I don't think they're actually trying to do that. I think that's what we're doing to ourselves. I certainly did it. It's not for the world economy. The uncontrollability of AI starts with the uncontrollability of my own mind when I let their incentives in. In other words, when I do it their way, they want me to do it, then I don't control things anymore because you're kind of you're saying, oh, this is how you operate a machine. I'm going to follow your directions because they must be the only directions possible. That must have been the only perspective on how to use YouTube or how to use AI or how to use whatever. But there are lots of perspectives on this. There's a certain type of perspective that I think a lot of people are starting to have here that starts to bring up the point. You start to experience like, oh, there's substantially new perspectives. I felt the tension in my shoulders snap. My hands uncurled, leaned forward, not to solve the world, but to solve my internal environment, me. Right? This is kind of my own experience going through here. Again, this is the prompt kind of giving me this, but I'm trying to experience the usefulness of it as I go through. And I'm imagining myself going through this to see, is any of this useful? And it really is. The room's focus on the distance seems to blur, replaced by sharp, immediate clarity of a new singular purpose. The key insight here. My personal point of leverage with this, right? When everyone's talking about how AI is going crazy and it's all going to take over the world, yada, yada. My personal point of leverage with technology is the friction I create between, I have to create friction between their incentive and my attention. So when they ask me to like, subscribe, and everything else, I don't just do it because it's an incentive. Like, I'm not just reacting. There has to be some friction. The friction means you have to be aware you're doing it. You have to choose to do it, not just do it and then have noticed that you did it, but instead you're like, I'm doing this with intention. I am liking this video because, not because I want more things from this video, though that is useful. I'm liking it because I want more people like me watching this video. That is a very different way of using YouTube. Same with subscriptions, same with comments, same with the community. And if you're doing everything, you will really send a signal to YouTube that says, oh, if, like, for example, and I hope that you do, if you are subscribed, you're in the community, you're leaving comments, you're posting, you're liking, and you are participating, don't you think YouTube is going to see that algorithm? Because, I mean, big data, let's say it's a thing, right? Big tech's watching us all, so be it. That's fine. Let them watch. Operate it back. You don't have to be a user and be used by it. We can operate it and say, listen, I'm going to overly do stuff in this channel to show the algorithm that it cannot ignore what's happening in this channel and the engagement. It's going to see that. And then all of a sudden, more people like us get pulled in by the algorithm. That is us telling the algorithm to do that. It is not YouTube doing that. It's us knowing how the algorithm works, giving the signals, but we're doing it on purpose and we're coordinating it so that it does that, right? So and you can do that with any channel that you like. I would love you did it with mine if this is your jam, but if it's not, do it with somebody else's, because what you're doing is you're telling the algorithm more people like me should be here. And you could be in there, you could help, and it changes the algorithm. I will not outsource my mind, my labor, or my social existence to their platforms. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not gonna be using the platforms. I'm clearly using YouTube. I have no problem with YouTube, very pro YouTube, supportive of everything they are doing. All of it. I'm just suggesting there's a different way that you could be intentionally using it that I'm pretty sure is going to cause some really different responses from the algorithm in your own world, in your own psyche. You just de-stress and you can experience more of what's actually happening, maybe not be so upset and outraged all the time. And because of that, your brain kind of comes back online because it's not processing rage 24/7, and it just has answers to stuff and resources. And you're like, oh, actually, I can do this. Like, look, we can do this. Oh, now I see that they're able to do this and this other person can do this. And this is what happens. Communities start again, which is what we're trying to build here. I want to use YouTube not for a video platform. I want to use it for a community experience, right? So my primary duty is being the last human standing in my own life, right? Being me. I'm going to take care of my own life. I'm not letting anybody else do it. Reclaiming the raw material of my time and creativity, making it too expensive for them to strip mine. This is important because here's how I experience this. Now, I know some of this is flourish in the words and all of that, and I'm always going to go through and I'll adjust the gems as we go, but reclaiming the raw material of my time and creativity, making it too expensive for them to strip mine, basically means they won't be able to train all the data. I'm going to create so much data for them to train on, it just won't be worth. All the value is in the live part of this, in the experience part of this. That's not something they're ever going to be able to strip mine. I am creating an experience here. He's attempting to. I'm not perfectly good at it. I'm practicing, especially in the early days of this. It is not, I think it's not even been a week that this channel has been open, but I'm working on it, trying to use personal agency, one person on a platform that is free that anybody can use, showing you how to do it with free AI tools in a way to get over this. This is why I use AI to do this, because I would never do this without having gone through conversations like this with AI to get these insights to be like, oh, that's a good perspective shift. You're right. I should do this, and here's why. Not that I'm trying to be convinced to do it. I'm not asking it. Notice, very important. I didn't ask it to convince me of anything. All I did, we go way up to the top. Let me just do this. It's much easier. All the way at the top, and I'm just going to minimize this so we don't have to do that again. All I said is this. This is a description of an experience, some generic transcript. As you experience the description, experience behind the experience, tell me what's going on. That's it. I didn't even say tell me what's going on. I said experience behind the experience, here's the transcript. The rest of it was the AI coming back because of how I use AI. This prompt is using something called, again, latent experience prompting, basically telling the AI to give really good context so that it has what it needs to be able to produce something useful for me, which in this case is changing a state of mind. which is important because if I think I'm stressed out all the time and AI is coming out to get me all the time, I'm never going to be useful to this world. My guess is it's going to be hard for you to be as well. You're not even going to look at AI as a resource. You're going to look at it as something bad, and that's a shame. So this was super important for me. Now, I did create a video again. I don't know if it's for you. That does talk about some things that can happen. That's back there if you want to find it. Good luck getting through that. But I don't think that's at all necessary. I think right now we could do all sorts of stuff with this. It's thinking about technology differently. It's not getting freaked out because of everybody's YouTube videos and just agreeing with everybody that everything's bad and it's somebody else's job to fix it. It's our job to fix it. It's my job to fix it. It's your job to fix it. And I know that you may not know how to fix it. I also don't know how to fix it, but I'm trying to be useful. I'm trying to use AI to help fix it by showing things like this to say, this is a video that just caused more of the same type of conversation that doesn't really seem to be changing anything. And in my opinion, there are some serious misunderstandings that around how this technology could operate because no one's talking about how it's up to us to change how we operate it. And no one's really saying this. Here's how to use YouTube and here's how to use Facebook, and don't hit the like button unless you mean this. I know what Facebook told you the like button means. I know what Facebook wants you to click the like button for. I know that, but you also know that. And because you know that, that means you're agreeing to their reasons. Why would you click on a like button for their reasons? Because it sounds useful. Oh, if you click on the like button, it's going to give you more of the stuff from the creator. Okay, that's cool. It's a good reason. But if you waited to really like something until you really found it useful, not entertaining, not funny, not engaging, not enraging, if you didn't react at all, what if you just didn't react? What if you just waited for actual usefulness? And if that's this video, now is the time. Subscribe because you're telling YouTube, I am subscribing to this because I got value, and I need more people like me who can also see the value, more like-minded individuals that will see the value, and the algorithm will go out there and find that because you subscribed on this video right around this timestamp. You don't think they're watching that stuff? They're absolutely watching that stuff. That's okay. I love that they watch that stuff because that's what tells the algorithm to go find the right people to come back in. So it's awesome. This is what we're trying to do. Slightly different way of using technology, really cool ways of using AI, but it does take a little bit of friction, meaning a little bit of effort on your part. It took me a couple minutes to go through and create this transcript and go through it with the LeapBot, same LeapBot you can use as you're going through. So again, if you need to know where that is, it is right here. So just go to thisisyourmindonai.com. It'll redirect to wherever it redirects. In this case, it's a Google Doc right now. This is the link. You just click on this. It'll open it up automatically in Gemini. Just have a Google account. You can have a free Google account. That is all that I am using too. It's a Flash version. It's free. So that's all I'm doing. Hopefully it helps. Hopefully it is useful. And either way, let me know in the comments. I'd be appreciated. And of course, join the community. Once you subscribe, you have access to the community. You can post in there. And we'll be doing a lot more back there as well, sort of some skunk work projects and topics and everything else that people want. And then we'll also be doing some fun stuff, like the pretzel builds we did, like the Lego builder gems that we did, like the Boomer Buddy gem that we did, and we'll keep doing more. So if you need help with something, let us know, put it back there. We will do our best to make sure that you also have a useful experience. So with that, thank you so much. I appreciate your time, effort, energy, and we will see you next time on This Is Your Mind on AI. Take care.